Let's talk about D&D's lost 7th ability score and how absolutely bonkers it was. Disclaimer for the upcoming video, and I don't believe I have to do this, but as with all of my videos talking about 1st edition D&D, I am purposefully bringing up rules that people rarely, if ever, used because they were so ridiculous. Also, if I happen to talk about something like, I don't know, say a party of 4th level characters killing Asmodeus, that's for comedic and ridiculous effect. I know they can't do that. You know they can't do that. Chill out. Anyway, on with the video. In 1985, TSR released a book that was experimental and is nowadays just completely on the website experimental. Unearthed Arcana. This is the book that gave D&D some new rules and new character classes that stayed with the game forever, like the Barbarian, but it also introduced character classes that just vanished into the ether, like the Cavalier. They also introduced sub-races and a whole bunch of other things, some which stuck and some just vanished away. This was also the book that introduced a 7th ability score, Comeliness. So what was Comeliness? Well, in essence, it was the measure of your character's physical beauty or attractiveness or lack thereof. And it was directly tied into your charisma score. So they tried to relate charisma and comeliness together in a kind of bizarre way, where if you had a low charisma, it would lower your comeliness score. For instance, characters that had a charisma of less than 3, their comeliness score had to be adjusted by a -8. Say, for instance, if your charisma was an 18, your comeliness was adjusted by a +5. Just like charisma, comeliness could have positive or negative impacts when your character dealt with another character or NPC of a different race. Yeah, I know, So if you were dealing, say, with a half-orc, you would get a -3 racial adjustment if you weren't also a half-orc. If you were dealing with, say, a high elf and you weren't also a high elf, your reaction adjustment would be a +2, because elves were supposed to be beautiful and pretty and half-orcs were supposed to be ugly. It's what they put in the book. I didn't write this stuff. Also, your comeliness score had just a direct effect on reactions overall, depending upon where your score fell. I'm going to read to you directly from the book at this point here. If your comeliness score is a -16 or lower, those viewing the characters with comeliness this low are repulsed and horrified, so as to turn away or attempt to destroy the creature so offensive to their sight. On the way other end of the spectrum, if your comeliness was a +26 to +30, it says, unearthly beauty of this sort can be possessed only by creatures from other planes, demigods and demigoddesses, and deities of the unusual sort. Reaction adjustment is double comeliness score. And they start now talking about fascinate, and that actually goes back to if your comeliness is a +14 to +17, you could become under an effect like the fascinate spell if you failed your wisdom save or whatever. And then they go on to tell you fascinated creatures will follow the orders of characters with a high comeliness, provided a roll of 3d6 does not exceed the comeliness of the character, blah, 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 blah. I don't quite understand why they tried to introduce this as a 7th ability score. It's pretty wild to me that they would even attempt this, but it was the 80s, and things were very different back then. it's just bizarre to me. But again, you know, this was a rule that I don't think anybody used. Not in my experience. I've never ever heard anybody talk about it ever. In all of my years of gaming, I've never heard anybody talk about this particular ability score. But it's here on Unearthed Arcana for you to try out if you wanted to. It just seemed to be another one of those rules that was more of a pain in the butt than anybody wanted to deal with. So I think in a future video, I think I'll talk about some of the... I'm going to talk about the Cavalier class, which was a new base class that they added to the game, where then they took Paladin away as a subclass from Fighter and added it as a subclass to Cavalier. Cavalier did not survive the test of time, but they did try to make it a base class for the game. And I'm going to do that in my next video, I think. That's all for now. Stay safe, stay safe, and stay sane. And have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye now.